What up, world? What up, world? This your boy Smoke Black, aka Jersey Rider. Wrote the book Moments of Clarity. You can pick it up on Amazon. Google it, Moments of Clarity, written by Ernest McNeil Jr. Making this video here for you to explain the United Monarchy of Israel. I talk about it a lot. It's a major part of the book because that's a major part of the understanding behind the book, which is to show the history in the Bible and the history in the world and the history that we're missing. Well, you're going to see me look off camera because I had to take a few notes because there's some things that are very important in this that I don't want to miss. And basically, I want to explain the United Monarchy of Israel started out as Israel, the kingdom of Israel and Judah. There was Israel to the north and Judah to the south. King David was the ruler of the United Monarchy of Israel. That's in the Bible. The King David of the Bible is the same King David of the ruler of the United Monarchy of Israel. He ruled from 1035 C to 930 BC. In 930 BC, the rule was passed down to Solomon. Solomon is very prevalent in not modern history, but in Western history as far as it dates back because of the actual his role of being king. He was 21 years old when he gained rulership of the United Monarchy of Israel. That was during the year of 970 BCE. He ruled from 970 to 930, had a 40-year reign. He expanded the kingdom exponentially. When he became ruler, he used a system of barter, trade, and marriage to expand the kingdom. Within that 40-year reign, he managed to expand his kingdom to include to the north what we know as Syria and Iraq. It went to the south as far as Yemen, Oman, Ethiopia, Somalia. It went out east as far as Iran and India. And then to the west, it was bordered by the Mediterranean Sea. And also Libya, like as far as Libya, all those territories in between. Solomon was polygamous. This is how that was able to go through. That's how he obtained a lot of land through marriage. And with that, that's when he lost track, and the United Monarchy of Israel was able to be split into two kingdoms. When he began rule, he became hard on the people, and he changed a lot of rules, and he started letting outside influence help him to change, to do things, and it changed the vibe and the feel and the structure. The unity wasn't the same. The love for Yahweh wasn't the same. Nothing was the same. He allowed them to go into the holy city of Jerusalem and practice pagan rituals, his wives. He allowed this. After a while, they begged him. He finally allowed it, and with that was the beginning of the end, because then eventually he started practicing some rituals, and with that, he wasn't holding the same faith for Yahweh, and that if we read the Bible, he was promised the rule and that the kingdom would be solid. Yahweh promised him that if he remained faithful. This was in the Bible. That was scripture. He didn't remain faithful, and this was allowed for the kingdom to be taken over. This is what happened. And once that happened, after Solomon died, when he passed, his son Rehoboam took over, and the southern kingdom of Judah, because during Solomon's death, when he was dying, all the land, like his wives were leaving them, and the treaties were broken and things like that. So people were taking back their land, snatching back their land, all that. So everything came back to Israel and Judah. So Rehoboam took Israel, and the southern tribes in Judah did not want to go with Rehoboam. They didn't want to follow that same structure and the same thing that his father left. So they went with Jeroboam. And Jeroboam had destruction in Judah. And during his reign, this was in 930 when they did that. And it was split in 930 BC. That's when it was split. That's when Rehoboam took over and Jeroboam took over. And then during that reign, the reign of Jeroboam, they were that was like during the time where Egypt was able to be raided because the armies were weaker, and then with that they gained access to Judah, and once they gained access to Judah, they raided Israel, and then that's where we have it today. Now you have the modern day Jews living there and so forth and so on. But that's what happened to the United Monarchy of Israel. I go more into detail and explain the beauty of it, the beauty of the cities, and the actual in depth a little more about the territories in the book. And I talk more about Solomon and how he ruled, and I point to the scriptures and everything that I'm referring to. So yeah, I would suggest you could check that out. It's very historical. It's very right. It's on point. Moments of Clarity, written by Ernest McNeil Jr. Love.